All right, so 3.7. We are getting through Unit 3 of APF American Studies. So these are you taking your notes? This is more so to help you out because again, we'll be doing a math assignment at the end of this discussion, but it'll be different parts. I will be collecting these notes, so just be ready for that. Okay. All right, your essential question for today for 3.7. The topic is the color line and double consciousness in American society. Students is actually gonna be a learning target. Students will explore the theory of double consciousness on American society and African American identity. So again, it's on the board if y'all want to get to it. Students will explore the theory of double consciousness on American society and African identity. And again, I will be collecting these notes because there will be some parts I need y'all to answer some questions too. So just make sure you're ready. You taking your notes on paper, yes, or digitally, whichever way you want. I don't really care. You just gonna turn it in. Nope, not now. You're gonna have opportunity to do your idea, but not right now. You literally gonna have an assignment to give your idea. All right, so students will explore the theory of double consciousness on American society and African American identity. When y'all rotate, y'all move around, y'all can always come take a picture of it and write it on the board too. Just as a note, on Monday you will have another SAQ, and it's going to be on this. Is that right clear there? On Monday you will have another SAQ, and it's going to be on excuse me, chapter 3.7. All righty. Okay. First, let me get my stick. Again, y'all have this in front of you. You can start taking notes as you feel is needed, but you should never be trying to take the whole thing down. Um, Eugene, can you start reading the first part, and I'm gonna let you pick the next stick.
Color line and double consciousness are concepts that African American intellectual and political figure W.E.B. Du Bois introduced in his 1903 work, The Souls of Black Folk.
All right, so the Souls of Black Folks is a book that W.E.B. Du Bois. Remember, you had W. Du Bois. You also had Booker T. Being some of the prominent African American leaders or Black leaders at the time period. He came up with this idea and this theory called double consciousness, and this came out of the Souls of Black Folk, which really try to chronologize how Black folks are living in the United States. Is that right, clear there? We good so far? All right, who you got next? Crazy Ann, can you read the first next bullet point? Speak a little louder.
The color line refers to social and legal barriers that prevent people of color from accessing the same opportunities and rights as white people.
So again, try to give you our definitions, right? The first definition you want to have is the idea of color line. The color line is just saying that you have this imaginary line that basically divides who has access to things and people who do not have access. And it's typically the opportunities. It could be both legal opportunities, it could be job opportunities, just any kind of opportunities between black and white. Or remember, we talked about Jim Crow, colored and white. Does that make sense? Because we got to incorporate both Asian communities, Latin communities, etc., etc., etc. Is everybody follow me there? Okay. Pick the next person. Elon. All right, read the part last about double consciousness.
Double consciousness is the dual self-perception of subordinated or colonized groups in an oppressive society, and in particular the struggle of African Americans to remain to their true culture by conforming to white society.
All right, so the idea of double consciousness you have to add to this. There's a word called simulation, right? Assimilation is when anybody for that matter assimilates or acts as or becomes part of the primary culture. Does that make sense? And if we talk about America, we talk about American culture. But then we talked about culture in the class, right? Culture is not what you culture is what you are. Is everybody got me on that? So culture, like you choose to dress a certain way. Culture is the way you talk, your dialect, things like that way. What Du Bois is saying with this double consciousness that because of Jim Crow and because of how American society has been for a very long time, particularly what he's saying, and so is the black folks got to live in a dual society. They got to live both in the American society, also in their black community society, which only got perpetuated by the idea of Jim Crow, which was separate but equal. Is everybody got me on that? And he's saying without even doing it subconsciously, you flip in and out all the time. Is everybody following me so far? Give me 1 second. So this whole theory is saying that people of color specifically, I'm whiting this out. Does everybody got me on that? Because again, W. Boyce is really trying to use this idea of Afrocentric thoughts, try to keep everything rooted in the idea of African ancestry. He is saying that black folks specifically, I'm saying colored folks in general, always got to walk in two worlds. When they go home, they're one way. When they're on the corner with their homies, they one way. Then when they come to their job, they're someone totally different. Does that make sense? So you might wear a suit and tie to work, but then you got on some Dickies and a t-shirt and some Chucks on when you go home. That's the idea by definition of double consciousness. Is there a follow? Now, hold on. Not everybody conforms to this, but at the same time, typically, if you're gonna be successful, you have to conform. Because the way you talk on the street, you cannot go talk to a banker in the middle of a bank and try to get a loan for over $10,000. It ain't gonna work. You have to conform to some level. Does that make sense, everybody? That's what he's getting at with this idea of double consciousness. Is it a perfect theory? No, but it happens every single day. And again, is there some folks who just refuse to conform? Yeah, and sadly, typically you're gonna have an issue eventually. But at the same, even when you get stopped by the police, some people conform and do something and talk totally differently. Does everybody follow me so far? He's just saying how you walk into two worlds. Does that make sense? And it's this idea, like some people, you hear them have the foulest mouth in the hallway. They get in front of their mom, they look like they're a church boy or church girl. That's double conscious because that's what you're not talking that same way with your mom, are you? So you literally just flip the script, and it can be, oh, I respect my parents, but you still did it. Is everybody follow me on that? Y'all follow me so far? Okay, I'm gonna go from back to the left. Can you kind of comments quick? And again, if you don't, what I'm gonna say here, opinions are cool, but if you can't support it, don't say it. Does that make sense, everybody? I want to make sure we really try to stay really focused on how we introduce the theory, and I still got to we gonna go more deep into it. What you got, real quick?
So this is like basically just like another example of code switching, right?
Yeah, modern day we'll call it code switching. Yeah, that's exactly what is considered modern day. Yeah. Okay, code switching. Yeah. You call right. I'm listening. So you give an example of it. And then your favorite rapper that I probably know anyway, you would never believe how he sounds when he's actually trying to get that money from us from a label. Totally different.
Well, wouldn't like Tupac though? Like he would actually show like he his attitude was different, right?
Oh, Tupac was a definition of a Gemini.
Yeah, like he would. Like
Oh, you gonna say the name? Like if you actually, even if you listen just to All Eyes on Me, he had so many different code switches it made no sense. But that's who he was. And again, the idea, that part I didn't say, just because you code switch don't mean you're disrespecting your culture. You just understanding how you got to survive. Does that make sense? And again, I'm gonna say this straight up for me right now. My wife says it every time. I am one way now. When I go to LA, I am a totally different person that she sometimes takes a day to recognize. Because I don't even do it, this is subconscious because I have a totally different antenna. When I'm living in Powder Springs, when I go to Bankhead, I'm a totally different person because I know my environments are different, but I have survival tactics. I always remember, I started to work for the CIA. I got almost to the last end, And then they found out I did something I wasn't supposed to do. But the guy told me this one thing: you be the perfect operative because we don't have to train you how to survive. You already know how to survive. You already know how to live in different environments. We spend money on people, but you won't have to worry about why I say that. Oh, you grew up in South Central LA in the 80s and 90s. You have survival skills that we can't teach. That's again going back to this idea of double consciousness. But I was talking to him, shirt and tie, being professional, going in government. Didn't get it until, but it does happen. All right, who you got next?
Kiki.
All right, Kiki, you ready? Let me get my cursor. Oh, I almost worked for it. I was literally like a second. All right, so now let's go a little bit more deeper into W. Du Bois, groundbreaking text, the souls of Black folks. There will be when we doing our exam reviews, we're going to analyze Souls of Black folks. Everybody make sense on that? I want to make sure that is one text y'all can use. Souls of Black folks and Black Reconstruction, to where y'all can use that as a reference for any kind of writing. Does that make sense? I will challenge you all right now too. We talked about Miseducation of Negro earlier, the Souls of Black folk, Black Reconstruction. Those are 3 books. If you plan on taking an AP exam, I ain't saying you got to read the whole thing, but at least know something in it. Does that make sense? Because that'll be a good place to come and reference. Then we get to more modern things. My dissertation just talks about the incarceration of Black males and the stigmas associated with that, and then also even Alexander's The New Negro. If you know those 4 texts, you're gonna be able to make a lot of arguments. Does that make sense? Yes. And let me say this: I have been referencing the Souls of Black folks for over 10 years. I still have not read the whole book, but I know enough of the book to be able to talk about it. Does that make sense? And I probably got over there in my closet. Really quick.
With the lack of black fathers in African American household, does it affect the whole entire notion of code switching and stuff?
That's not something I've seen studied, so I don't know. Because that's a bigger issue than just the idea of having parents in the home and not in the home. So that's not something I've actually never referenced. Okay, Kiki, can you read number 1?
The symbol of the wheel and souls of Black folk represent African American separation from full participation in American society and struggle for self-improvement due to discrimination.
So what he's doing there is defining what the veil is. Does that make sense? And what's the veil in the layman's terms? Anybody want to raise their hand and just say in the layman's terms again? My son, who is in middle school, can understand this as this is being recorded. What is the veil in layman's terms? Who got it for us? So again, 13, 12-year-old, right? You explain to them the veil. What would you say? And by me asking you that, I'm trying to make sure you understand what it is too, okay? All right, go ahead. I got you. You're not wrong. I heard what you said, but I want to get a little bit more detail. Okay. And that's why I want to make sure. Anybody else? You're not wrong either. Both of you not wrong. I just want to make sure we clear because this is a hard concept. Let me get somebody else. Another idea and thought. Anybody else? Go ahead.
This is like when you're trying to better yourself and be equal, but in the American society, people are still like pulling you back and things that you will hold you down.
Okay, but it's also just like the idea that you're constantly doing all these things, right? You're being okay. Some use me. Wrote books, got my doctorate at a very young age, being successful, but I still don't have the same opportunities as some other individuals. Is everybody got me on that? Because I'm just not awarded, and a lot of that's because it's the way I walk myself. The veil is saying you have a struggle to actually become better. Does that make sense? I went to college and I had to go to remedial classes. Guess what? I didn't really know how to read or write. Does that make sense? Not for college. So my first year, I was taking all remedial English and math classes. Does everybody got me on that? And the reason they said, well, you can't read or write, because, you got 740 SAT. Then I got in the class, the teacher was like, for real, why are you in here? I'm like, because I don't test well. But do they really teach you how to take a test in school, though? Yeah, but I was in the arts and science magnet because I was, as you can tell, deep into arts. So that's what this idea of veil, like everybody don't have the same opportunities. We already talked about the different forms of segregation, right? That goes into that. Does that make sense to everybody? So the veil is saying you got this veil where it's invisible and like, hey, see me, I'm doing these great things, but you really can't see me because I don't have the same opportunities. In my case, no one taught me how to take the SAT. So when I took the SAT, I'm sitting there. I have ADHD. No one ever knew about it. My parents didn't try to go figure it out. After 30 minutes, I was doing everything but the test. Zero got me on that. I can literally remember me sitting in the test just like, why am I doing this? Like, I know I'm gonna go to college. I know I got the grades, but why I gotta do this? And then my mind was everywhere but actually taking that test because no one actually taught me. That's the idea of the veil. Not everybody has the same opportunities. Does that make sense? Can we say some things are better today? Yes, but we also talk about different forms of segregation where it makes you kind of question it. Is everybody good there? Is the veil at least a little bit better? Yes? And again, I'm just talking about how I interpreted the souls of black folks and what he was saying there. So who you got reading for us next?
Roman.
I'm gonna say Poppy, yours too. All right, give me the next one. The metaphor for the color line.
The metaphor of the color line refers to racial discrimination and legalized segregation that remained in the United States after the abolition of slavery.
Yeah, go ahead.
Du Bois identified the problem of the 20th century as the problem of the color line.
So the color line just says, it's the idea that you still have racial discrimination and legalized segregation. We already talked about what Jim Crow did, right? That's what he's referring to. Again, this is coming out right in that whole time period. Does that make sense? I don't know any other way to say that, but it's just straight up that. Questions? Because I don't know how to break that one down more. We good? If we good, say yes. Okay. Pick the next person.
So back,
Mars.
back in like what I don't want to say the older days, but sounds like segregation.
I can't go that way.
More light skinned people would have more opportunity than dark skinned.
It's hard to say about skin color, particularly doing Jim Crow. And again, those are more stigmas. Oh, you lighter, you must have a better chance. Not necessarily. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. Willie Lynch. Go ahead and get into Willie Lynch. Has anyone ever heard of Willie Lynch? Raise your hand. Stand up if you ever heard of Willie Lynch. I don't want to have a conversation about it, but stand up if you ever heard the name Willie Lynch. And if some of y'all just better stand up because you have me before. You heard the name or the theory of Willie Lynch. Theory is okay, I'm gonna tell you why. All right, Willie Lynch, y'all can take a seat. This is during colonial period. Again, giving y'all background information, yes? Okay. And I'm trying to help y'all understand this idea about the color line too, using his example. Willie Lynch was in colonial America. Okay. We don't know if Willie Lynch was a real person or not. That's why we call it theory. At least that's why I call it. We don't know if it's a real person. But the Willie Lynch phenomenon, this is the whole idea. You put dark versus light, tall versus short. You put different color noses. The whole genocide of Rwanda, for example, was based off the Willie Lynch theory. You fit your strongest versus your weakest, but you make them so focused on their differences, they don't understand just how bad you're making things for them. It's the best way to control a slave. Make them fight amongst themselves. Does that make sense? That only actually makes the color line even deeper because now you don't even notice the different forms of institutional or I was rolling. It's another word. Systemic racism that you're actually dealing with because you're dealing with it in yourself. Y'all heard about the crabs in the barrel theory? The idea of crabs in the barrel is where one crab try to get out, all the other crabs bring them back down. It's the same idea. That's just continuing the whole idea of Willie Lynch. You make them so focused on their own differences, they fight amongst themselves, and it makes your life easier. In a way, as far as looking at colonial America, that's the best way to control a slave. Y'all follow me so far?
So is that why like slave masters used to make slaves fight each other to like make the winner slave?
See, those are all different stories that you got some of. I can't say it was or not. This is the idea of how you can control slaves. House slave versus field slave. Y'all got me on that? Typically, people say the house slave had it pretty good, right? No one's dealing with, and I'm gonna be honest, no one talk about how the women getting raped more often in the house, right? Compared to the ones on the field. But the field's also the one dealing with the 100 degrees plus humidity on the field, right? No one's gonna talk about how the house, y'all know live south. If you don't have AC, the house can be hotter than outside sometimes. We're not gonna talk about that. Y'all follow me on that? We're gonna just say the house is better than the field, and therefore there's a difference. Those subtle differences is what kind of invades into your own subculture to make things issue. So then you're making your own color line on top of the color lines already put on top of you by systemic and institutions. Does that make sense so far? Okay, because I did not have the goal of making that connection, but it did make sense. Yeah. Give me a thumbs up if it makes sense because that was not a plain conversation. Okay, that's the majority.
See, I have another question.
Hmm.
So is that why like most Black Americans like with the whole entire epidemic in the 80s, like they were just trying to be better than one another.
That's a totally different topic. You talk about drugs being is in the community. That's a totally different thing.
No, I
Because then you also got what people don't realize. 80s is a lot of poverty, particularly in urban communities. So that's another issue.
I'm just like trying to like say like this because I know every minority like the
You got to be careful with that. You can't say every
well
without support.
majority
You can't even say majority.
minorities,
You gotta say just maybe some.
some minorities like they they tend to stand up for their own. Like there's a mom and pop for
You ever heard of a fallacy?
a fallacy.
Hmm.
What is a fallacy?
A fallacy is a argument that's not proven. That's what you're doing. You make fallacious arguments.
Well, I mean,
And
yo,
and be clear. I know where you're trying to go, and I'm gonna answer your question, but I'm trying to challenge you about the way you say things because that's how you're writing and it's getting you the scores. I think you get higher. So and then anyone else, I'm trying to say the same thing. You don't want to make fallacious arguments. If you can't support the argument, don't say it. Does everybody follow me on that? Because this is the problem. If you opinions are great and dandy on social media, everybody got an opinion, right? Go to Wikipedia, everybody got an opinion, right? Does it make it a fact though? And here's the problem. Okay, I'm a meteorologist. People, we are not controlling the freaking weather. We're not that good yet. Because there's too many variables in our atmosphere. Does that make sense? The fact that there's people on social media saying, "Oh, the weather's being controlled by the government," is the reason why I'm saying you gotta be careful with fallacious arguments. You're not even considering all the different chemicals just in the greenhouse layer that you makes it impossible to control the weather. Now, is seeding a process? Yes, but then you also see how that could work both good and bad. Does everybody got me on that? You got to be careful with making those fallacious arguments without documented facts. Does everybody got me there? So to get into your idea, what you talk about, like in the 80s or 90s, this is not really going to now. The idea of the color line, maybe so, because most urban communities, I would say, was doing very bad. Does everybody got me on economically? But was the whole world doing bad? No. And there was some communities. Keep this in mind. And I'm also using the reference of South LA. You have LA that's in the basin. Does everybody got me on that? Then you know where y'all have the Hollywood sign and everything like that. Those are called the hills. On the other side, you had the valley. They're still doing good, but the hood wasn't. Does everybody got me on that? That color line where you can make arguments, maybe it's just those mountains or those hills. Does that make sense? Or even the Santa Monica. You still got to make sure to be clear on that. So it's not just those concepts.
what I was trying to say is like you have like
Get that door
the like
really quick, so we gotta go.
right, the Jews, the Asians, the Hispanics, they all tend to their own people, but it's just the black we just
That's opinion. That's opinion. There's not a lot of data that can support that.
I was just
I'm not gonna say I agree or disagree, but it's not a lot of data.
I was going based off
Who did you pick?
I was going based
Me?
off the
Yeah, did you pick somebody?
I already
um
picked Kiki.
analysis.
Kiki, you picked Roman, right?
Yeah.
All right, Roman.
Abraham.
You went. Did you pick another stick? Oh, Mars. Can you read double conscious both the main point and sub point?
Double consciousness refers to the internal conflict experienced by subordinated groups in an oppressive society. Double consciousness gave African Americans a way to examine the unequal realities of American life.
Go ahead and finish it because this is all this what we
Double
talked about.
consciousness resulted from social alienation created through racism and discrimination. However, it also fostered agency, adaptation, and resistance.
What I just said, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. I said it ahead of time. Any questions so far? Because again, remember, if you looked at your sheet here, right? You're doing double conscious math. So you see why I'm trying to go over this, right? So if you don't understand this idea of double consciousness, you're not gonna be able to do this math. So make sure y'all got questions. You let brother know right now. All right, now each chapter of Souls of Black Folks opens with a verse of spirituals, which the boys call sorrow songs. Here are 4 sorrow songs. Is everybody clear there? This is what I want you to do in your paper. Y'all ready? Ready if I'm gonna tell you to do? Pick one. Y'all got me on that? You're gonna pick one spiritual. And then what you're gonna do A, E, I, O. Anybody know what the last one is? U. Give me an adjective. What's an adjective? What's an adjective? A description. You give me an emotion. Yep. I might be misspelling, but I don't care. Something you find to be interesting. Oh, it's something that makes you say, oh. Like again, like, oh wow, like something you just found out. And then you is gonna make you something to say, and is gonna be like a what? Question. What I'm gonna do for y'all right now, and we're doing some more document analysis today, okay? Remember, that's one of the main goals we're trying to do. We got plenty of time, almost an hour. I gave you 4 of these spirituals. Pick one. Y'all follow me? Give me 3 of the AEIOUs. Directly there. Pick one. 3 vowels. A is for what? Adjective. E is for what? Emotion. I is what? Something that's interesting to you. O is what? O something makes you say oh, and then U is what? Something you got a question about, like Pick 3 of those vowels, 1 spiritual. I need complete thoughts and complete sentences in your notes. Is it right clear there? And obviously the topic is here is soul of black folks, sorrow songs. Everybody clear there? Y'all got it? Yes? All right. I'm gonna give y'all fine folks 5 minutes, okay? Once I get my watch open. So you shouldn't be talking. You got 5 minutes, folks. All right. I mean, only want 3 people, but any 3 people without calling 6 want to share. Maybe somebody that has not talked already. Share which spiritual they picked, and then their 3 AEIUs. What you got? Which one you pick? I walk through the churchyard to lay this body down. I know moon rise. I know stair rise. I walk in the moonlight. I walk in the starlight. I lie in the grave and stretch out my arms. I go to judgment in the evening of the day, and my soul and thy soul shall meet that day. When I lay this body down. What you got? A, you put quiet, okay, for adjective. E, you're sad. So say again. Walking in the moonlight and starlight sounds peaceful. Okay, give a round of applause, y'all. All right, for the sake of time, let me get only one more person who has not already went today. But again, I want to go by sticks necessarily. Huh? Go ahead. Which one you got? Wait. Which one? Bottom left. Oh, oh. Life treads on life and heart on heart. We press too close in church and mart to keep a dream or grave apart. All right, what you got for that one? So your question was, what does life tread on life mean? That so like it's constantly moving. That's what that's getting into. Like life is constantly moving, so you don't know what life's gonna happen as you move. Go ahead. You had the other 2 vowels. For the bottom left, no, I didn't do it for just one. Okay. All right. Y'all good so far? Everybody got at least there are 3 vowels there. Yeah. Okay. So who pulls 6 last? Mars. Okay. So you'll pick again in a second, but not yet. All right. So now we're gonna watch this one video. It's only 3 minutes, but you do have some questions here. Does that make sense, everybody? Yes, I am recording this for y'all to go back and look at it, but as of right now, the screen is not being recorded, and I've yet to figure that part out. So I'm sorry for that, okay, everybody? But I'm gonna have the subtitles on here. So listen, add to your notes, and be ready to answer these questions. All right. What did W.B. Du Bois want to show his readers in his book, The Souls of Black Folk? And again, you put your answer here. You do not need to say it out loud. Just refresh and it'll come up. All right. Excuse me. Okay. So, like, did you try to refresh your browser? Okay. For the second time, I'll make a note of what you have an issue with. All right. Let's keep watching the video, y'all. All right. Next question. According to the passage, what did Du Bois believe prevented blacks from achieving equality in a post-slavery era? Answer your question real quick. Not gonna take that long. And again, these are things you might want to add to your notes, right? Class? Yeah. All right. Let's get ready to move on. Oh, everybody got the right answer? All right. So in this case here, the laws and society that deny blacks fair access to jobs, education, and what? Opportunity. All right. Let's keep going. Now, be mindful. This is already in CTLS for you to go back and review as far as the whole presentation. Okay. So, what created the double level double consciousness? Because blacks were wearing a what again? The veil, and we talked about that earlier. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. And again, it's the veil is mean. So the veil, and I could be wrong, but that's also like in the weddings. You know how the bride has the veil over her face, like you can see her, but you can't see her fully until she lifts us up, and now you get married. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Next question. What did the boys use? Excuse me. What did the boys use the term the veil to describe? So I make sure I really got this one too. It should be kind of review, yeah.
Does this theory apply to other races too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any theory can be applied to across multiple races. It just depends on the user and how they want to use it. So, like, particularly ethnic studies, and later in this class, I'm gonna talk about Afrocentric theory. But Afrocentric theory can be used to literally every other ethnic group as well.
Can I take ethnic studies in college?
Yeah, they offer the class.
I wish I took ethnic studies before African American studies.
It just depends. But yeah. All right. Again, I gotta move from the time. Take the time. I want to make sure you understand this project. Okay, everybody. All right. But I can't skip anything either. We got planned. So here, the correct answer was B. The way in which racism made it hard for whites to see blacks as true what? Does that make sense? Yes? What's good? The way in which racism made it hard. Yeah, you could make argument for A. You could definitely make an argument because racism. The way in which racism created a separation between the reason that part I can see why I would pick that, but because what you just said it's not as specific as A or B. B is the very clear, but I can see how all three could be the answer. Huh? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I would say B is the best one, but I still see the argument with A and C. And in this case here, as long as you answer A and C, y'all really actually all got it right as far as I'm concerned. Did I got me on that? Does that make sense, everybody? Yeah? Okay. Good point. So this is an example for y'all to see how it works. Everybody got me on that? I ask that you all really pay attention here. Get off TikTok, get off your phones, make sure you're really paying attention so you can understand what this is. Your lack of understanding will show up in this project. Is everybody clear? And not to mention, this also is helping you as a person, okay? So make sure y'all paying attention here. All right. What was the significance of the book, The Souls of Black Folks, in shaping and our understanding of the effects of racism on identity? Um, I don't look for a really long answer, but give me your thoughts. Everybody got me on that? Yeah, about 2 minutes here. Not a really long response, but let me know what you're thinking. Can you get on your phone and do it? I mean, I got you noted for that, but I do want to know your thoughts here on this. And this should be done in the Nearpod, not on paper, because again, I need to go back and read your thoughts. This is how I'm checking for understanding, and it's your grade, so just do it. And Nasir's the only one that told me he had some tech issues for those other ones, but I need you here, all right, man? Oh, give me another clicker. Yeah. You hand me my tablet? Actually, I get it. All right, couple more seconds, y'all. Yes.
Idea applied to the idea of homosexuality too?
Say that last part again.
Does this idea like apply to the notion of homosexuality too?
The veal.
Yeah, like
I mean, I haven't thought about it. It's possible.
people that are
I mean, I know what you mean, but
yeah.
I have never thought about it. It's possible. Here you go.
But
Yep.
like I'm just like thinking about. I stopped thinking about it too deep, but well, I mean that's what I've been trained to do so far.
It's okay.
But
All right. You got some writing to do now. Has everybody got me on that? So you add this to your notes, and this is where like then we almost about to get into the projects, but I want to make sure y'all really clear here. You do have time frames to do this. We're reading excerpts from the Souls of Black Folks. Somewhat biased because these are the ones I know. So please make sure y'all do a good job answering your questions. Um, pull a stick for me. Pull a stick for me. Chantel, go ahead and read the forethought. The forethought. I pray you then receive my little book in a charity, studying my words with me, forgiving mistakes, and fiable for sake of the faith and passion that is in me, and seeking the grain of truth hidden there. So the forethought, this is the book saying, okay, look, before you read the book, this is my thoughts. Does everybody got me on that? Forethoughts. The question you're answering, I'm gonna give you about 70 seconds to do so. What does Du Bois mean when he says, quote, for the problem of the 20th century is the problem of the color line? This is not an open discussion where you're verbally talking. Is that right clear? You write down your response on your sheet of paper. Does that make sense? Because I could have easily made this a discussion board, but I didn't. So I want y'all to write this on your own paper to start getting your ideas in here. Add this to your notes. What does Du Bois mean when he says, for the problem of the 20th century is the problem of the color line? What's brother talking about right here? I'll give y'all about 70 seconds to write it. Then I'm going to come back and tell you my thoughts on it, okay? Cool? So these are just quick writes, y'all. So want to get that door for us, please? So what does Du Bois mean when he says, for the problem of the 20th century is the problem of the color line? What years is the 20th century again? The 1900s, right? So 1900 to 1999, this came out in 1903, right? So he's trying to say, yo, look, this is what's going to happen. You almost want to also consider, hey, was he kind of like being futuristic in this? Again, rhetorically speaking. All right. So what I would say is that this statement, I got to look at my notes here. This statement underscores the pervasive and enduring nature of racial divisions and discrimination that Black Americans face. Du Bois sets the stage for understanding the societal, y'all still with me so far? And personal impacts of this idea of racism. Does everybody got me there? That's what I would say he's saying there, okay? All right, next up for y'all. This one's gonna give you a little bit more time on. All right, y'all ready? All right, so now of our spirituals, what? Strivings, yes? Hey, y'all. Y'all with me?
Wait, what?
Okay. The next slide, just look at the very top in the bold print.
Oh, I see.
Okay. Between me and the other world, there is ever an unmasked question. Unasked question. Unasked by some through feelings of, what's that word? Delicacy. By others through the difficulty of what? Rightly framing it. All never flutter around it. They approach me in a half hesitant sort of way, eye me curiously or compassionately, and then instead of saying directly, how does it feel to be a problem? They say, I know an excellent color man in my town, or I fought at Mechanicsville, or do not do not these southern outrage make your blood boil? At these I smile, or I am interested, or reduce the boiling to a simmer, as the occasion may require. The real question, how does it feel to be a problem? I answer seldom a word, and yet being a problem is a strange experience, peculiar even for one who has never been anything else, save perhaps a babyhood and in Europe. Then, this you notice I bolded print this, right? So this is what y'all really focus on. But I couldn't just say do this and not understand what he said before it. Then it dawned upon me with a certain sadness that it was different from the others, or like mayhap in heart and life and longing, but shut out from their world by a vast what? Veil. So we come back to that. In your own words, what does Du Bois mean when he says what I just read? Everybody got me on that? In your thoughts, in your own words, what does he mean? So go ahead, take some time and write this one out. Give you about 2 minutes, and then I'll tell you what I thought. Is it right clear? You know what? I'm gonna do this by song. I'm just gonna put it on like an instrumental for timing.
What is what?
Oh wait, focus and get your answer down, okay? Thank you. Do y'all want to get closer for y'all to just talk to each other? Do y'all want to get closer for y'all to just talk to each other? All right, all right, all right. So the boys introduces the metaphor of the veil here, which represents a separation and lack of understanding between black and white Americans. The metaphor illustrates the both systemic and institutional barriers that prevent black Americans from fully participating in society. Does everybody got me on that? Notice I have both systemic and institutional. Systemic are things that just happen without even paying attention. Institution meaning it's actually embedded into the fabric of American society. Is everybody clear there? And again, this is my opinion based on how I used it when I was writing. All right, got a couple more of these to do, okay? And be mindful. The book is about this big. I'm not exaggerating. It's a big book. Is it right clear there? So we're getting excerpts from it. All right. Next up, We got one more to do after this one. We'll go down to the bottom. Is it right clear there? Because I read the other part. Y'all see how this is continuation, yes? If you're with me, give me thumbs up. Okay. I appreciate y'all. The Negro is sort of seventh son, born with a veil, and gifted with second sight in this American world. Think about that. That means you're born with a second sight, meaning you see things in two ways. Everybody got me on that? So people that had me before know I always have to do like different superhero assignments, right? This is saying you have a superpower because you can see things in two different ways. Not everybody's able to do that, is it? Okay. And again, I will go as far as saying right now in the 21st century, this is of any person of an ethnic background, and definitely including women and anyone else. So start off. The Negro is sort of seventh son, born with a veil and gifted with a second sight in this American world, a world which yields him no true self-consciousness, but only lets him see himself through the revelation of the other world. Y'all with me so far? Okay. It is a precarious sensation, this double consciousness, this sense of always looking at oneself through the eyes of others, of measuring one's soul by the tape of a world that looks on in a amused contempt and pity. One ever sees his thoughtness, an American, a Negro, two souls, two thoughts, two two unreconciled strivings, two warring ideals, and one dark body whose God's strength alone keeps it from being torn asunder. What does the boys define double consciousness in this part of the text? Again, you write this on your own paper. I've been talking about it. Now I'm giving you where I'm supporting what I said earlier in the class. Yes? Okay. Go ahead and I'll give you my thoughts on it in a little bit. Appreciate y'all. We almost at an hour, but I appreciate y'all. Hopefully this is helping you, and this will definitely help y'all with double consciousness, all right? Because y'all be having to look at your own double consciousness next, okay? I'm just literally setting y'all up. Un momento, senor. 1 minute. All right. Shh. Shh. This is actually the last one we're gonna go to, because then I want to go to Dunbar's we wear the mask, which will explain to us why we're doing the mask assignment next. So we're closing out the boys' double consciousness. Everybody got me on that? Now I need to also introduce Dunbar's We Wear the Mask, which is the second document. Everybody got me? Which will then help us understand why we're doing the mask, okay? All right. All right, so what the boys are saying here is, despite the abolition of slavery, the legacy of racism persists, preventing Black Americans from achieving true freedom and equality. This continued struggle highlights their enduring effects of both systemic and institutional racism. Y'all follow me so far on that? Now, for your sake of writing, what I'm showing you, quote your response to the quote. Does that make sense to everybody? You never just quote something, you always want to back it up with the response to the quote. Okay, let's get into Dunbar next. So make sure you put that next in your notes. It's going to be the mask, because then it'll all come full circle for you, I hope. You about to find out, bro. All right, We Wear the Mask by Paul Laurence Dunbar. This came out in 1895. So who came out first, him or the boy? He did. We wear the mask that grins and lies. It hides our cheeks and shaves our eyes. It's this debt we pay to human guilt. With torn and bleeding hearts we smile, and mouth with mirrored subtitles. I can never say that word. Why should the world be overwise in counting all our tears and sighs? Nay, let them only see us while we wear the mask. We smile, but O great Christ, our cries to thee from tortured souls arise. We sing, but oh, the clay is veiled beneath our feet and long the mile. But let the world dream otherwise. We wear the mask. We good so far? Okay. Um, Anybody want to share their thoughts about what he think he means here? Particularly if I haven't heard you yet in class. If I haven't heard you yet in class, I just want to try to get more people in here. I'm trying not to do sticks, but I'm about to go to sticks. KP, what you got? What do you think Dunbar means here? Michaela, what do you think? Oh, go ahead. Speak a little louder. Okay. Just say how you feel. Give her a round of applause. That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, y'all suck at the. Give her some flowers. So what she's saying is that like in a movie, how people all if you someone close that door for me. Sometimes you have masquerade parties, right? And everybody put a mask on. You don't know who no one is, right? And then you act out a certain kind of way because no one knows who you are, right? That's kind of where you can make an argument that Dunbar is saying here, right? You don't really know me because I gotta wear this mask for you to accept me. Because if I was my true self, you would not what? Accept me. Because you see me as something less than you, so therefore I wear a mask for what? Huh? For acceptance, and you can go a whole bunch of different ways too. I saw a hand to my right. Yeah. Yes. All right. All right, y'all. This is a very, very quick video. This is just, I think this is the reading of the poem, but I already read it for you. So we good there? All right. If you with me, say yes. Okay. So what I want you to do, I'll give you a short time to do this because then we'll get to our activity. Okay, y'all? Y'all with me? Pick one of these questions for number two based off We Wear the Mask by Dunbar. What does the mask represent in the poem? How is it more than just a physical object? Or how does the words torn and bleeding hearts and tortured souls contribute to the emotional tone of the poem? Are there any other phrases that have same emotion? Or lastly, why do you think Dunbar uses quote we throughout the poem? How does the collective voice affect your interpretation of the poem? All right, give you about 2 minutes to get this one knocked out. And then we going into you and what you'll be doing for your mask, okay? Let's go. Hopefully you be good with double consciousness and this idea of wearing a mask. Go ahead and write for me first. Make sure you get this done. Kiki, I need to sign you back in. Yeah, I got less than a minute and a half. So let's go, y'all. Thank you. No, you're just doing either one of the questions for number two. That's all you're doing. We don't have to analyze it, and that's just only because I want to make sure y'all get my time to explain to y'all your project that I really hope y'all take seriously. I really pray. I'm afraid of this project, but I'm praying that y'all make it happen. I think you can make it happen, but it's gonna be a self reflection. Does that make sense? And that's where it becomes scary because sometimes we all don't want to self-reflect. You're gonna have to now, okay? So I would say it. Um, yes, let's do this.
We say yes at the same time.
Hmm.
We say yes at the same time, right?
Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay. Now I'm gonna give you this precursor. It may be to your best interest to take pictures of your notes because I will be collecting your notes so I can see what's been going on. Okay. Not yet, but I'm gonna make sure I explain the project to you. Oh my righty then. So we're not gonna do these discussion boards. Let's get into double consciousness math assignment. All right, everybody stand up. Everybody stand up. Everybody on those 2 feet. I don't care if you wear a size 20. Get up on your feet real quick. Let them both stretch. Kick one leg out. Kick the other leg out. All right, say this again. Kick one leg out. Kick the other leg out. You know what? In fact, let's just do a brain break. I'm gonna make y'all do something. And now I'm gonna break. Let's see. Uh. All right, tap, zap, nap. Let's do this one real quick. Just like the. All right, y'all, listen up. Here we go. Greatest participation. Let's get it. Y'all suck at directions. Give yourself some room, obviously. Wake up a friend. Thank you. Corey, I need my pass back. I mean, it is, but it's also trying to have fun too, though. I'm not recording you. All right. So I did not have the point of. No, I need the pass back. We got a dead time now, and you got to understand this project. Sorry, bro. All right. Let me say this to you, and I mean it sincerely. This is something that is very much about you. Does that make sense? If the minimum is you do the mask on the paper. Does that make sense? If you want to go ham, get some extra points, and really display yourself in an artistic manner, I will give you one of the actual masks that I bought. Is everybody clear there? If I give you the mask you bought, you're responsible for using the mask, and it needs to be extremely elaborate. Does that make sense? So don't take the mask if you're not about to go crazy on this mask assignment. Does that make sense? They're expensive. They came out of my pocket. Brother broke these days. All right. Background. We know the background. The creation of the assignment. Create a mask that represents your double consciousness. You're going to use this template below before you start painting. You will also write a one paragraph. One paragraph, make a note of that right now. It's 5 to 7 sentences. One paragraph is 5 to 7 sentences. Explanation of how your mask represents your double consciousness. So you draw your double consciousness on your mask. The quickest way to think about this is that you will have a line down the middle, right? One side of you, the other side of you. Think if you all are Geminis by the stereotype. Is everybody clear there? You have two sides. You are now saying your double consciousness based on how we explained it. The idea that you have to live within two worlds. Does that make sense to everybody? Is everybody clear there? Okay. Here is your rubrics on the back. Okay. I'm going to show you how you get max points. Demonstrates the concept of double consciousness. The mask clearly and creatively expresses the idea of double consciousness and its personal or social implications. Let me reiterate. I am assessing you on understanding this idea of double consciousness. Is everybody clear there? Yes? Okay. Then you go from a 3 to 1. Creativity. The mask demonstrates a high level of originality, imagination, and innovation in its design and execution. The mask is unique and is what? Captivating. I am impressed when I see this. Yes? Okay. Explanation. The explanation, which is your 5 to 7 sentence paragraph, is professional and clear and coherent, meaning and purpose. The presentation shows evidence of reflection. Y'all have magic school. They help you with sentence stars. I suggest you use it. We good so far? Yes? Everybody, yes? Okay. Yes.
Do you want the paragraph on like a separate paper or like write it on here?
You write on a separate sheet of paper.
Separate?
Yeah. And it can be type handwritten and no matter, as long as I can understand it. Okay. Craftsmanship. The mask shows excellent skill and technique in painting. Now, painting, I'm not saying you got to necessarily use paint. Is everybody got me on that? The mask, you also use markers, whatever you have in front of you. The mask is neat, clean, and what? Well finished. And then you have the rest of the rubric going from to your right to left, so you can see how you want to score. Does everybody got me on that?
Yeah.
Yes? For the sake of how I'm going to grade this, you keep your notes. Your grades will be this mask. Does that make sense? So, option A, that's yours. And I'm going to be honest, 'cause I'm judging you here, okay? You doing this for the sake of doing it, you got this. Cool. You still get something out of it, right? You doing this because you have like some real, this lesson really got something out of you. See me on your way out and I give you a mask. Let me reiterate. If I give you a mask, the mask needs to come back Monday completed. Does that make sense? And it needs to show your effort. Does that make sense? You do not have to take one of these very expensive masks. Only take the mask if you really want to use it. Does that make sense? Is everybody clear there? Do you have to take one of the physical masks?
No, you don't.
But you have to do what? You're still doing this no matter what. Okay? Yes, ma'am. Huh? Yes, the masks you make are going to be your mask. Definitely going to be your mask, but I do want to take them back and grade them and do stuff though. Because remember, this is my first time teaching AP African American. This is a new lesson. Y'all are the examples. So now I will say this though. If you go, I mean, this is also Halloween season, right? Yes. So also consider, making your mask, because this may be something I wanted for Halloween. I don't know, but make sure it's also relatable to you. Because again, this mask is you. Does that make sense? Make sure wherever you make your mask, this is you. It's a reflection and it is you. Does that make sense? So show yourself the way you want the world to be seeing you, and show them this level of double consciousness that we all inherently do. Does that make sense, everybody? I do have, how much time I got? I got 3 minutes. Okay, I do kind of have an example that I wrote and did. Let me bring up my Google. Does anybody have one of my old cards I gave last year? Okay, well, you don't have it here. Hold on one second. So I gotta find this real quick. All right, here is one example. Okay, and this ain't the one I'm looking for, but it's one I found. No powers, no money, but they both are what? Y'all got it? So this could be a mask if you look at it in this sense. Spider-Man is broke. We all know that, right? Batman got nothing but money, right? But the one thing they both have in common is they're what? So that's a very loose example of a mask. Yeah, everybody follow me there? Still got the level of double consciousness there. I'm looking for another one. I had one I did for myself that made me do this assignment. So give me 1 second. Can you do this what?
In a sense of religion too.
You can do it wherever you want to. It's just double consciousness. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. I gotta try to find this for this bell rings. You can ask the question out loud. I was just still looking.
What's the max we would get if we did on the paper?
You usually get the bare minimum. You'll pass the assignment. And I'm judging you.
Is that a 70 or an 80?
Do what you. I mean, it's going. You can look at the rubric. It's gonna be based off the rubric. All right, here it is. All right, y'all. Here's one that I got made for me. This is what I'm gonna lead y'all with. Okay.
Oh, that's your profile picture.
Yep. So this is me. This is double consciousness. All right. My face is always the same, but what I always change and go in and out of is how I dress. So this is LA. This is Baldwin Hills. This is where I grew up. Everybody follow me on that? Here, I obviously got a hoodie on, and I got my shirt and tie on. Does that make sense? So this is me going from the hood going into the more richy area. This is my level of double consciousness. This is how I go in between. My talking may stay the same, but my appearance is always different. Y'all follow me on that? If y'all see me on the weekend, I do not look like this. So that's how I do my. I learned to conform as far as how I dress. I hope that makes sense. I hope that is y'all enjoyed that. Y'all be breezy. You want a mask? Come see me. Again, if you don't want to, if you're not gonna use that mask, don't take it. But if you take a mask, you gotta go ham on it.